And all the headshots for his film and all the characters he already had, they were all white. And I was like, what you doing? I need some, where's the blackness? So I came over, changed the lead to a black girl. Not only did I make the lead girl the love interest, the lead, the whole movie about her, I was able to add another supporting role to be black. He was just like, I never saw it that way. I didn't understand. And I was like, but you have to pay attention to these things. Representation matters. There's a lot of places where the worlds are just not all white. They don't think they're gonna make their money back with a black face as the lead. Man, we are, especially black females, we are the strongest force out there, and without us, stuff is gonna crumble.
What's good, everybody? It's your guy, JoJo Simmons, and welcome to the For Good podcast, where we focus on the good, never the bad, where we're measured by what we do, not what we have. Today on For Good, we're sitting down with Natasha Ward Shaw, a casting director, producer, and acting coach who has built her career on more than just finding talent. She's become a powerful voice for inclusion in Hollywood, especially when it comes to creating space for dark-skinned women to shine in lead roles. Through her work on projects that challenge the status quo, Natasha has pushed back against colorism and opened doors for stories that reflect the full beauty, depth, and complexity of Black women. In this conversation, we'll talk about her journey, the realities of representation, and the future of inclusive storytelling and entertainment. Let's get into it, everybody. Natasha, I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much. I know that you're very busy being a superhero in the Hollywood space, but you gave us some time. So thank you for coming on the For Good podcast.
Oh man, I appreciate you so much. This is such an honor, to be able to speak about something that I know and love so well. I'm 21 years in the game. So it's always great when I can be a light and help to shine on everything that's happening right now.
Wow. So 21 years in the game. Obviously, I know who you are. My team over here knows who you are. But for those who may not know yet, can you introduce yourself and share what led you to the world of film?
Yeah, so 21 years ago, I landed in Los Angeles. I was going to school, culinary arts down in Miami, and I came here to visit. The first chance, the break we had, the first Christmas break, I came out. My sister was here, and she was like, "Hey, instead of hanging out with me all day, why don't you go intern with one of my friends who's casting Fat Albert?" And I was like, "Well, sure. Like, all right, I'd rather go do that than just chill on the couch." So I interned. I loved it. It was Shamin Bernard, Monica Swan, both veterans in the game. And they taught me everything. I mean, everything. And they were two separate casting directors who had their own way of doing things. So I learned so much in a very short amount of time and very quickly. But I wanted to learn. And so they saw that. And so they taught me everything. And then I just kind of grew from there. The assistant had quit Sunday night when I was interning. And when I came in on Monday morning, they offered me her job. And so that's how I literally got into. So then I went from a casting intern in 4 weeks to an assistant and then associate, and then it just goes up from there, and then casting director, then consultant, where I consult with different studios and production companies and, help them find the diverse, names and faces that they're looking for. And then I branched out into producing, and that's all types of producing, from executive producing and finding the money and all of that good stuff, to actual producing on set every day, and co-producing, just all kind of, just everything that's in casting, then producing, and then coaching. And I've been coaching actors for a while. I just got back on Sunday. I was in Atlanta coaching an actor on an audition. So I'm committed. I'll hop on a plane, get over there to you. I want to see you win. And so whatever I can
I
do
love it.
for that, I do.
I love that. I love that your first started on Fat Albert. Obviously, something that we all know, a name that we're all familiar
Yeah.
with. So that was really cool to understand that that's where it all started for you, and you took it and ran
Yeah.
with it. And I heard you talking about you just wanted to learn. You got into the space, you just wanted to learn,
Mhm.
and you've worn so many hats in the industry: casting director, producer, acting coach. Which role feels the most natural to you, and how do they all connect?
Yeah, what feels natural is whatever I happen to be doing that day. Because, like, when I'm coaching an actor, I can see because I've been casting so long, I know what the producer's looking for. I know what the writer's looking for, or that special note the writer wrote in there. He wants that to be punched up. I can see that as soon as I get those sides. I mean, it just jumps off the page. And so I'm able to cultivate that with whatever talent I'm with and build them to that. And producing feels natural because I like being a boss, I like being in control. And there, I'm able to call the shots, put out fires. That excites me too. To be able to, start off in the trenches, but then come out shining and then have a beautiful project at the end. And then casting, like I said, I've been doing it for 21 years, literally when I got off the plane. So it just comes natural. It's just fluid. So I'm safe and comfortable in all of these spaces because I know that and putting God first, I think is really what shines and he leads me, orders my steps, let me tell you.
From what I hear, and I feel like I'm the same way. Like you're confident in your
Mhm.
value. You're confident in what you know you
Yeah.
bring to the table, no matter the job that's put in front of you, right? And I love that you said, all of them come natural depending on the day that I'm doing what needs to be done. And that's the
Yeah.
same for me. A lot of people ask, well, what do you like the most? Do you like interviewing people? Do you like rapping? Do you like reality TV?
Mhm.
Do you like being a boss of the companies you have? Which one do you like most? Do you like the business side of you? Do you like the personality side? And I'm like, whatever I need to get done that day, Imma do because it all comes natural to me because I enjoy doing all those things. I don't believe that you can enjoy doing one thing. I believe you can enjoy doing many things, especially in one space, right? So yes, like you, I love putting out fires. I love problem solving,
Mhm.
but I also like
Yeah.
being the person that's like in front of the camera. If you need me to go talk to the people and go be the speaker, or if you need me to make
Mhm.
some music, or you need me to go wherever you need to place me, I know that
Mhm.
that day feels most comfortable no matter what
Yeah,
the job is because I'm confident whenever I attack that task, so I relate
that's
to
it.
a lot of what you just said. It's like it doesn't matter what I'm doing, it's as long as I'm doing, as long as I'm
Yeah,
doing and I'm part of it. Yeah,
and
I
I'm
love
part of
that.
it, and
um
that confidence goes a long way. I don't wanna be
yeah,
in
it
front of the
does.
camera, though, I'll take that off. I'll leave that for you.
I tell myself, I'm done being in front of the camera, and everybody always tells me, "Well, you're too good at it, so you got to keep being in front of the camera." I'll take what God gives me, I never deny any gifts that God wants to give me. That's what
Yeah.
I do know. So, when you're casting a project, what do you look for beyond the script or resume? What makes someone stand out to you?
It varies, of course, but we do look for that confidence. So, back in the day, we used to invite actors to come in and audition. We used to come in the room, we talk, we have a conversation, we build a rapport, we're complimenting each other's shoes, whatever it is. So it's like, you're warming up and you're making them feel comfortable because people are coming in there giving their whole life. You know what I mean? They're being as vulnerable as possible. So we want to be there to help build and structure that. But now a lot of things are, on self tapes and, you're just sending in your audition. So just looking for, it goes back to that confidence. We're looking for you to pay attention and follow instructions, do your research on the character or the producers or, whatever you can to get the backstory of this. Like go as far in, ask questions if you need to, but, I'm really just looking for the bright person that fits, the vision, whether it starts with they fit my vision or it's the producer's vision or the network, depending on who I'm, serving at the time.
Yeah, so I think it's safe to say it always starts with confidence, no matter what industry you're in. You gotta just be confident, bring that, and people see it,
Yep,
and people will
that's it.
gravitate towards your confidence. So I love that, for the actors and out there that are trying to get their win, lay in, just stay confident, stay
Just
confident.
stay confident.
All will work out. What's one project that you've worked on that you feel really shifted the way people think about representation, and why does it matter to you personally?
So I try to add me and what I'm wanting and diversity and what I look like and what my friends look like and what I want to see on TV and just even sometimes what I see on Instagram or what people are saying to me in my DMs. So I'm always looking to diversify or look past the social norms of what people are wanting, the straight hair, just the classic beauty looks and all of that. So I want real. What's real? What do I see when I go to Target? And because when I turn on my TV, I don't see it. It's not in the films, it's not as widely as and we started doing that though. I'm very grateful for a lot of these shows and a lot of directors who are able to make the shift, and it's hard to make the shift because we have to get the funding, we have to get the money to do these projects, especially if they're on an independent level, and so you have to kinda go with what they want, what their standards are. So it's hard to break those molds, but like, Issa Rae has come out and she's able to do what she wants to do. But that's ha that's it took her, a while to
Yeah.
get there, but I
You gotta
started
break
with
through.
her. You gotta break through, and there's a lot of us who have been able to break through, and I'm able to break through in casting in some ways. Sometimes it's not the lead roles, but I'm able to kinda come in and switch up, and instead of the doctor being a man, can he be this beautiful plus size black woman? Or can he be, this natural hair? Can they have locks? All of those kind of what we see every day kind of being filled, yeah.
Can you name a project that you worked on that you feel really shifted the way people think about that representation? Just one project that you maybe had to step in and say, I want this person to be represented this way. I want it to look like this way. And I know you said it's hard for you to break through even as a casting director, but when you do have that word and when you can make that change, is there a project that really sticks out to you that you're really proud of, that it really meant something to you personally?
There's several, which is great because I fight. I like to fight. I will go head to head. I will go toe to toe, but you have to be the talent that has the ammunition for me though. So sometimes, if they're not prepared or they don't have the right materials or I can't show other works of them, it makes my argument harder. But there was this project that I did. It was an independent film called Loco. And Justin Galindo is the director, and we worked across the hall from each other. He was a producer, director, and I was cast I don't even know what I was casting, um, across the hall. Might have been Kicks, but I was casting something across the hall, and we were just friendly and talked. He's like, "Oh, come over into my office," and I looked at his office, and all the headshots for his film and all the characters he already had, they were all white, and it was one kinda
Mm,
Spanish guy, but he looked white too, and I was like, "What you doing? I need some where's the
right.
blackness? I need some give me that." And he was like, "Well, would you be my casting director? Would you step in?" And I was like, "You're damn right I will." So I came over, changed the lead to a black girl, Jeffrey Maya, who was in, All American Homecoming. She's so dope. They gave her a spinoff show. But it was just to where his whole wall was white. And I was like, this doesn't represent anything or anyone. So I was still able to come in. Not only did I make the lead girl, the love interest, the lead, the whole movie about her, I was able to add another maestro, another supporting role to be black. And he had no idea that he was wanting to be that. Like he was just like, I never saw it that way. I didn't understand. And I was like, but you have to pay attention to these things. Representation matters, and even pitting against each other but it's just there's a lot of places where the worlds are just not all white.
I think that's important. And you talk about representation mattering. And
Mhm.
obviously it matters for us in movies, but it matters in the casting director spaces and it matters in the rooms where the actors aren't. Like when people like you are able to show up and somebody says, "Hey, can you be my casting director?" And you're making sure that you represent to be the
Mhm.
representation for those people
That's
that can
it.
represent us to be in those movies, right? So that's why I think it's super important. And I love that you were able to come in and change it up. And he was able to trust you with your vision and understand
Mhm.
that representation is just being relatable to the world. It's not, the world
That's
isn't
it.
just like you said, just all white, right? And there's white
Mhm.
people, there's all type of people, but the world is everybody.
Mhm.
And yes,
That's
there can
everybody.
sometimes be a heavy set black woman. Yes, the lead woman could be a black woman, so I think that that's amazing. And as we speak about representation and colorism in the industry, I want to kind of get down on that a little bit. It's been a long-standing issue in Hollywood, obviously. From your perspective, I mean, I know you just told that story, but how have you seen it show up in like casting rooms?
So in a lot of rooms, it doesn't start with the producers and the directors usually. It really is when we step in as casting. Or if a lot of productions don't have, black female department heads or, leads of departments that can come in and try to change the narrative of how things are going. So I know for me, when I step into the room, when I'm hired, as I go through the script, I write down different ideas, and they're not all, the way that the director wanted it. I throw in a couple redheads if it is something to that, or my
Mm.
black girls are African or British or whatever it is. I'll throw them into the mix so that they have to see it, so that it can't be overlooked. And I balk it up. I'll have, their demo reels with me, their resumes, their clips from this movie or whatever, so that I can go in and show like, hey, this world needs a little flavor or needs a little something else added into it.
I love how you fight for us and fight for your people, man. It's much needed. So speaking about the lack of dark skinned black women in lead roles, why do you think that barrier has been so persistent? Even as diversity has become a bigger conversation in the world as a whole.
Because they don't think it's gonna make money. They don't think they're gonna make their money back with a black face as the lead. And then here we are, the rollbacks and DEI and all of that. So it's further saying, I told you so, they don't make the money. They shouldn't be the face of this when we are, especially black females, we are the strongest force out there, and without us, stuff is gonna crumble. They don't believe in us. They don't champion us. They don't believe that we can. And we've shown them time and time and time and time again that we absolutely can, that we can be. Before it was what was the only black woman lead? It was like, Holly Berry, and that was it. And for years, for centuries, and now we're able to kind of introduce a lot of others, but it's a slow introduction to it. But it's a lot of hate that we're not it.
You spoke about earlier that you were able to come in as a casting director and the man was very open to you changing things up and wasn't really against it. But have you ever walked in a room where it was very biased and you had to fight?
All the time. That happens more with studios and networks because they have different numbers that they go off of. They have different, their algorithm is totally different. So if they say no, they really mean no. And so you still fight. I've been told no more times than I've been said yes to, but it's still worth the fight, even at the end. And I'll say to my husband, I'm like, the pushback, the fight, they're not letting me win. And he's like, well, just keep at it. And I'll keep at it, even though that door is being slammed. And then that's when I try to, if I can't sway from the lead or the supporting, can my day players, the ones that come in and say one line, can I at least make, the
Mhm.
neighborhood or the grocery store or, the DMV at least look like a real true city or a
Right.
world that we really believe, live in. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's it's
Wow,
it's
that's
it's
dope.
it's a lot of fight.
But even that's important. Even if we couldn't, can't get the lead role, can't get the supporting role, just saying, "Hey, can they just get an opportunity to be in the movie? Can they get an opportunity to be seen, right? Can they get an opportunity to get paid, right? Can they just get an opportunity
Mhm.
to be in a space where they are trying to break through and it's not easy to break through? So just give them something, and
Just
to
give
give
them
them
something.
keep them going, right? To keep them going.
Mhm.
So beyond casting, what needs to shift in writers' rooms, producers, offices, and executive suites to create lasting equity for us?
I think more having more black people in position of power, having them as the department heads, because before it's, Oscar's so white or this is so white, and it's everybody who's making the decisions are older white men who have no idea what's happening right now in 2025. But it's having more of us in those leadership roles, us being able to tell more of our stories, people taking risk and chances on the stories that we want to tell, that we have written. I mean, there's a stockpile of stuff out here, that needs to be told. So I know I take projects and I go and pitch and I go to the studios and production companies and I'm out here pitching, just to keep it going, just not
Mhm.
stopping. But if we could control a little bit more like the Easters and Ava DuVernays and those guys out there, then we'll be better off.
Yeah, I
They
agree. I
just need
think
to open the window up.
As we show up, we gotta just keep on showing out and keep on building each other up, bringing each other
and bringing
along
us
as
up. Yeah,
we need to bring others on. We need to I know obviously
yeah,
we need to be fair and like others not be biased, right? But we also need to make sure that we bring our our people on and and the people that are working, the people that are talented, not just say give anybody a chance because they're black or because they're a woman, but somebody
oh
that
yeah,
truly
no,
deserves that role. Somebody that truly is good at that role. There's so many people out there that haven't gotten the role because of so many different political answers and they have the talent, they have the skill. And speaking
yeah.
of I wouldn't say personal experience, but from somebody I know, my sister, Vanessa Simmons, is an actor. She's done a lot of different roles, and,
I've
I wanna
hired
talk
her
about
about 3, 4 times.
and I hope you continue to,
Love her,
but for
love her.
many black women in the industry, those casting decisions, they carry a real personal weight, and I've seen it with my sister from when she's gotten roles, she's been at the high of the high, to where she hasn't gotten a role, and she's a little down, right? But she keeps going. Can you tell me how, like, colorism has affected the confidence or experiences of actresses that you've coached or casted? Like you said, you've casted my sister, you've coached other ones.
Mhm.
Can you tell me how, like, that colorism or those, that part of it stops and how that can really affect the confidence of a lot of these actors?
It's definitely a huge factor because, like, when you go and like, say, just for me coaching someone, their immediate thought is, "Oh, I ain't gonna get this. They gonna give this to this white boy, or they gonna give it to, they homie. They gonna give it to their friend, or whatever it is." So it's like having to, and a lot of times when I coach, I feel like, sometimes it's like a therapy session. Like I have to warm you up to the fact that you're just amazing. You're great. God gave you this blessing, this talent, and we're going to cultivate it and make it great. But it is, I have to, it's a full conversation in the beginning about, you got this, or whatever it is, because they've seen so many no's, and the no's aren't based on their talent. It's not based on, if it's based on your looks, like, that's something you can't change. You can change your talent, you can take classes, you can do all of these things, but your looks are your looks. You can't change the shape of your nose or your ears or whatever it is that, they're already discouraged about. So that's why I said from the beginning how confidence is so important, because you have to rely on your true ability of what it is you're doing, believing in yourself and your talent. Because that's what's really going to take you far. Because that's what we see. That's what I see, and that's what I'm gonna push forward. So it's really difficult because each actor does, they're sensitive about their shit. So and
Not just
and
acting, people
and
are
it's
sensitive
hard
about their craft in every space, trust me, in
in
every space.
every space. Yeah, and so they just get caught up in their head a lot when it comes to what it is they're set out to do. And so it's just building them up and just giving them their props and all of that. Yeah.
I love that because I was gonna ask you, what do you say to young actresses entering the industry that are facing these biases head on? But you answered it.
Mhm.
You treat it like a
Mhm.
therapy session. Keep their confidence up.
Mhm.
You tell them that it isn't your talent sometimes that doesn't get you the role. So a lot of different decided factors, but you gotta make sure that you're confident. It isn't your nose, it isn't your look, it isn't this, it isn't that. It's just putting in the work and
Mhm.
you just gotta keep going. So I love that that's how you keep their confidence up. So, as you're fighting and working with these people and fighting these people to make sure we get representation, like, how do you take care of yourself while doing this work? Knowing that you're constantly navigating resistance and pushing for change, like, what do you do, Natasha, to take care of yourself so that you can take care of everybody else?
Man, let me tell you how stressed out I am. No. Recently married, so that's an amazing,
Hey,
amazing
congratulations.
thing. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Marriage is wonderful. I have 3 kids, so they keep me busy. Kids keep you busy. And I enjoy cooking. Like, I went to culinary school, so cooking and partying. I'm a huge partier. Like, I love to entertain. I love to invite. Like, every year I have a Christmas party. Everybody gets a plate and a present, you know what I mean? And house is packed. But it's just giving back to the community, giving back to my folks, giving back to people who helped build me up. I'm, like I said, 21 years in there. I didn't do it by myself. You know what I mean? But believing in God is number one. But family life is great. I love to travel. Just I'm just a cool, chill, laid back, nothing really. I don't let stuff bother me too much, you know what I mean? I'm
I
always
love it.
gonna greet you with a smile all the time. You're gonna see a
So
smile out of me.
finding the time to spend with your family is how you
Yeah,
kinda get your relax your
yeah.
breather from fighting the other
Oh,
parts of
yeah,
the world and doing what you do. I love that you find solace in family. So
I do.
that's an amazing and that's what it should be. You should always find solace in the people you love and the people that love you. They
Yeah.
should always make your family should always feel like your safe space. It should always feel like home. So I'm
Yes,
happy that it feels
yes.
like home to you and that's where you run to when you just need a break from it all.
I
Um,
run too.
S
I
so
run straight to my husband's arms.
yeah, yeah, I love that, I love that. So I wanna talk about the future a little bit and what it should
Okay.
look like. If you could reimagine Hollywood 10 years from now, what would you want the
Ooh.
landscape, representation to look like?
Just exactly what we see literally every day. I want it just to be diverse. I want empower. I want us empower Black women to be respected. I want all women to get the respect that we deserve. It's so hard because 10 years from now, I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen tomorrow because the industry is so discombobulated and janky. Who knows what's going to happen? But I do know right now is a great time to make the shift for someone to come in, hopefully someone Black and a female. This is my hope that they get to come in and kind of change the way stuff is handled right now because everything is so broken. It is now an open lane for anyone to kind of come in and reshape how we cast movies, how we shoot movies, where we shoot them at, how all of these new decisions and changes and everything, because it's open. It is wide open with the AI coming in and that trying to take everyone's job and I've even been in rooms where we're talking about casting and the producer is like, "Oh, well, here's my chat GPT list of who we should go after." I'm like, "Whoa, hold on. There's nothing creative about this. It's not you're
Nothing
not
personalized.
it's nothing personalized. You just picked random names and, what you thought was hot, but this is not what's hot. This is not the scale. I'm looking for that up and comer, that underdog, or that person, like we said before, who just got that opportunity to do that one role, but they're even way more talented, or someone I've seen on TikTok or Instagram. Because I will go through there too and find what's new and what's fresh. And those people are talented as well, so they
Mhm.
come from everywhere. So just being open, available, and open-minded to what is real and what is missing. I kind of went
Right.
all over the place with that, but
No, you went right,
you
you went
feel me.
perfect, you know? I feel you went perfect, and I agree, and something I'd like to see is just more togetherness. I'm just so tired of
Yeah,
the differentiation of a black movie and a different type of movie.
right.
Like, I just feel like we should all
Mhm.
just be one.
It
Let's
should
just
be
make
a
movies.
movie.
A black movie, it doesn't have to be casted all black because this is a black love story, and it doesn't have to be casted all white because this is the 300 movie or whatever you wanna
Absolutely.
say, right? Like, I just feel like it's just so divided. I feel like a good story is a good story no matter who's casted, no matter the color who of the person that's on the screen or whoever the color is the lead is. I don't care if it's white, black, Spanish, Asian. I don't really don't care. I just want a good story, but I want it to feel more together. I don't wanna feel
Yeah.
like a black movie has to drop 2, 3 weeks later after a certain movie because you feel it won't do numbers because another movie dropped and we're not gonna get the support because
Mhm.
of that, right? So and then as much as I love that we champion like the Black Panthers in the movies that do good, I just feel like it shouldn't just feel different. It should just feel like a really good movie that did well, not a really good black movie that
Black
did well. And then,
movie.
oh my God, we're so surprised. This black movie did billions of dollars. Oh my God. You shouldn't be surprised. A good story is a good story, whether it's a black story, a white story, anybody's story. Anybody's story should be able to sell and really connect with people as long as the story is told in a good manner. And that's how I feel about movies and TV shows. It's like there's too much separation in it, right? Like you talk about the
Mhm.
Lenas, I talk about the 50 Cents, and it's like you think that they do one type of thing, but I love to see them also break through and just work with everybody. And I'm not saying they're not
Everybody.
open to doing it. I'm saying that probably the other side is not as open to doing it. You know what I mean? So I just hope that there's more inclusiveness and I hope that there's more togetherness when it comes to Hollywood in the future. That's just me personally speaking. Being a person that likes movies, being a person that likes TV shows, being a person that just watches it, and
Mhm.
like you said, just wishes that there was more representation in both sides
Absolutely.
of it. That's what I truly believe because that's what the world is today. It isn't just one race; it's everybody. We are a melting pot. of beautiful, wonderful, intelligent people. And I think that needs to be represented on TV. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump into it, but that's just how I
No.
feel. Had to. So,
You
what does
articulated what I was saying, and you put it all
I love it.
together, so thank you.
I appreciate you. What role does joy, not just struggle, play in the kinds of story that you want to see told on the screen? Because a lot of it is just based off struggle. Some of these black, shows stuff like. But what role does joy play into the kinds of roles and movies you want to see on TV?
Well, it starts too with the shows and movies that, that I'm approached with and what I want to continue to build my legacy on, you know? So I want to celebrate us and our voices and what we are doing, So I tend to lean more into the love and the happiness and the family. Horror is my favorite genre, so I always want horror. But, just feel good stories, things that bring me joy and happiness as well. You know what I mean? That help build and not tear down. I've never had to do like a slave movie or anything of that. You know what I mean? It's I'm trying to move past that as far as I can away from that. Those are stories that still need to be told for sure, but I want to be more of that positive light, and to bring joy. Like that smile, I want that smile to never fade.
What keeps you hopeful in this work? Like, even when the change feels like it's a little slow and it feels like, it's not going as fast as I want. It's not going how I want it. I do want to see change, but it just feels like some days there isn't no change. What keeps you hopeful?
Mhm. The actors, the talent that I work with, the dreams that I'm help building and it's my God-given purpose. Like I know this is why I'm here in LA and why I've been here so long because I could leave tomorrow, even though I could because you can cast and we can operate now from anywhere over the world, but it really is the actors, they're my driving force. I've been there, I've opened up my couch to actors and, I've taken them to auditions and like I said, I flew down for 1 day to Atlanta. We talked about, "Oh, I got an audition on Friday," and I was like, "All right, well, I'll come to you." That was Thursday afternoon. I left Thursday night and got to Atlanta to
Mm.
handle, so it's really love. There's passion there. I root for you. I want you to win because we all win. When one of my sisters is brought up, that's a it's amazing, beautiful thing.
So happy to hear that. Uh, what's what we're coming towards the end. Few more questions, but I would love to know, like, what's one piece of wisdom or advice that you carry with you that you'd want to share with our listeners?
I wake up every day and say, "I'm blessed to be a blessing." That's something that always goes with me. I have to constantly say it. I also say, never put a question mark where God put a period. Go straight for it. Don't turn around. Don't go backwards. Just keep moving. It'll work itself out. You are gifted. You are talented, and you are doing your calling. To just keep going. Just keep going. Yeah, keep going.
Mhm. Is there anything else you have going on? Any projects you want to tell us that you're working on that are coming up? I know that in the movie world, there's so many things you probably can't discuss, but anything special, anything exciting that you can tell us about that you got coming up?
Producing is, like I said, super exciting. So I have tons of projects that I'm producing. One based on Lauren Hill, which I think is super exciting. Projects that I'm working with friends on. I always get excited. Just started working with friend Crystal Robertson and Robertson Dorsey and her husband Omar. Me and my husband are a producing team now, and we just won an
Mm.
award this weekend. We won 2 awards for
Wow.
our second short
Congratulations.
film that we did. And so it's super exciting. We won audience award, which is the better award of it all, and then we won best short. But to slowly make a difference and change, and this one is about a Dominican girl and a Haitian guy who, have to fall in love for uh, all intents and purposes to get a green card. But, it's just like telling our stories with our friends and stuff. So I just like working. I like making people happy. I like the joy that comes from it all. But working with my husband, I would say, is super awesome to be able to build together, and have someone who understands what I'm going through, on that side of it all. And then to win an award at the first
Mhm.
festival that we entered into. So just continuing to do great things. But there's tons and tons of projects that I have. I have at least 10 right now. So
Oh,
it doesn't stop.
I believe it. We're excited to see the
Yeah.
stuff you got coming up. Can you tell us, is there anything that you're excited about or inspired by right now? Any books, any movies, any music albums, anything that my listeners may say, you know, I'm check that out. Anything you've been inspired by lately?
Oh, that's a good question.
So we like to ask these questions towards the end to give our listeners some
Yeah.
something to leave with. It could be
What am
anything.
I
It could be a
inspired
recent
by?
project you just worked on. It could be anything. I feel like you kinda answered it. I feel like you're inspired by working with your husband now, you know? It's been a
Yeah.
while, doing a lot on your own, and I feel like, you know, what I hear through the screen is like you're super inspired and excited to work with your husband. It's been
Mhm.
inspiring for you to get somebody on your team that not only are you married to, but understands what you're going through and what you go through every day, especially
Mhm.
in fighting for representation and inclusiveness in Hollywood. So I feel like that's what you're inspired
Yeah.
by. I think that's
That
very
is, it
inspiring
is.
to find somebody that you love that also loves what you love, right? That's
Yeah.
super inspiring. That's
Yeah.
super
I
dope.
think
So
that's
I'll
it.
answer that
You
question.
hit it. You hit it.
I
You hit it
got
right
you.
on the head.
Yeah. And as we wrap up, I like to ask this question. I asked this question to everybody as my last question on the For Good podcast. We're very big on mental health here, so I love to ask you, what have you done for your mental health lately? Do you take your mental health serious? And what are your routines? If anybody out there is listening and struggles with mental health or just needs to know, what does Natasha Ward Shaw do for her mental health, and what have you done lately?
As soon as I wake up, I go straight to the Bible, straight to my lesson. It's already planned out for me. I go right there before I check anything else, before I get on social media or check the emails or see whose call I missed. I go straight there, get in the word, get my head and my mental right, and then I'll dive right into whatever work or whatever is looming out there. But I start with God. It is our time right in the beginning, and I think it sets the day. It sets the tone for the day, because I can always go back to whatever verse that was that I read or whatever I wrote down, whatever my notes were or whatever that is but that's where I start, and I think that helps seriously get me through because like I said, I work on several projects at once, and that's a lot of different people I'm dealing with. And so it's a lot of different personalities. And so it always helps me center and come back to one when I can go back to that verse or that special quote or whatever it is that, can get me through the fight of the day. Yeah. God
Amen.
is number
I
one.
love how everybody I bring on here either says the gym or God. So I love that people's
Yeah.
faith are shining through on the For Good podcast. And
For
Natasha, as we
good.
wrap this up, I do want to say thank you for what you do, not only coming on this podcast, but for being a representation in a space where we don't get much representation, especially Black people, Black
Mhm.
leading women. You know, as I said, my sister's an actor, and I know how hard it is for her to break through, although she's gotten many roles. Still very hard for her and hard for many others. So somebody like you that's fighting for these women, fighting for our people in these rooms to make sure that even when the other person isn't being biased and they just don't know, right? They don't know. They
Mhm.
need somebody to come in and say, hey, this is not what the world looks like every day. The world looks like
Mhm.
this every day. And you're the person and one of the people that are out here showing up, doing the work, and making sure that we have chances and opportunities. Not only is if it has to be a lead role or supporting role, but just getting an opportunity and a chance. And going
Mhm.
doing that goes a long way. I want to let you know that you're a special person. A lot of people
Thank
don't
you.
come to bat for people. A lot of people are cool with just taking care of themselves, going home, getting a
Yeah.
paycheck and living their lives. But you're going beyond that. You're making sure that you get other people paid and other people opportunities with the opportunity that you receive. So I do want to thank you. I want to give you your flowers as I give at every
Thank
every
you.
every end of episode, because this is the For
Thank
Good
you.
podcast. We do bring on people that are putting out good into the world, and I believe that you are putting out more than good into the world when it comes to us being represented, especially in Hollywood, because we already know there's so much talent out here, especially in our culture and our community, that hasn't gotten the chance, and you are fighting for us. So thank you, Natasha Ward Shaw. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, JoJo. This has been amazing. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, and thank
Of
you for
course.
this podcast. Like, it is
Yeah.
needed, and especially how you touch on the mental health. I deal with that a lot with actors, and we have, like I said, that therapy couch. We start there, and you have to kind of talk some people off a ledge sometimes, and so it is really important to start there. So, thank you for this platform and what you do.
Thank you so
Very
much. God bless
inspiring.
you, everybody.
God
It's your
bless you.
guy, JoJo Simmons. This was another episode of the For Good podcast, where we focus on the good, never the bad, where we're measured by what we do, not what we have. We're signing out till next time. Your boy, JoJo, Natasha Ward Shaw. Peace.